Royce Morales is the founder and teacher of the Perfect Life Awakening program, author, columnist, and expert on mirroring. She empowers clients with her profound process that helps neutralize self-sabotage, shift stuck patterns and negative thinking by locating the origins of limiting subconscious programmed beliefs. Live an authentic existence, discover your true purpose, connect with your higher consciousness, reset your life, transform from triggered to empowered, and attract what you truly desire and deserve by discovering what life is reflecting to you. Because it's all mirrors.
Hi, welcome to our show. I am so excited today. I always say that, don't I, whenever I start a show, because I really am, especially today, because we're going to talk about some things that are really big mirrors for all of us in society. And I'm excited to have my co-host, Marilyn Hager, because she's an expert on this particular topic. She is. And it's interesting to me. I was thinking while we were waiting on, I was thinking about, I have probably studied every spiritual discipline on the planet, except this one. And I think that's kind of interesting. I'm going to learn as much.
Royce, I don't know if everyone's hearing this, but your sound is kind of funny.
My sound is funny.
It's better now. It's better now.
Okay, I didn't do anything. That's weird. Anyway, so it's one of the few things that I don't know much about at all. So I'm excited to learn all of this amazing stuff. So let me, first of all, say that we are going through some pretty interesting, for lack of a better word, times. And I keep talking about the fact that it's a transformational time for the planet. It really is. And I think on a level of what we're going to talk about today, it's truly transformational. We're transforming from a masculine way of looking at life to a feminine way of looking at life. And
we hope.
Hopefully we're going to balance those two and have them equal. And because, it used to be feminine and then it turned completely masculine. And now we're kind of going back to the center, hopefully. So let me introduce Marilyn to you. Marilyn is one of my ardent students, and that was her word. I love that word, ardent.
Yes.
And she's also an intern of my Perfect Life Awakening courses. And she's also credentialed as one of the first Calling in the One and Conscious Uncoupling coaches. She then got certified as one of the first feminine power woman-centered transformational coaches. She facilitator and leader and worked as a staff coach for many years. She graduated from the Crossing the Illuminated Threshold. These are all big words. Illuminated Threshold course, and she's a 13-moon priestess and a Certified Priestess Presence Temple guide. And I'm going to find out what all of that means because it's fascinating. And her ultimate desire is to support humanity and to embody the power of self-love for everyone. So before we get into all of your information, Marilyn, which is exciting, I want you to tell us, how did you get interested in all of this? What is your background? What drew you to this?
Well, I have a little slideshow that we're going to talk about, and there's a little bit in that, but I've always been sort of different than everyone else in my family and my friends, multidimensionally aware and very sensitive and creative and maybe a little spacey. And I did the women-centered coaching and the Calling in the One coaching because I wanted to have a grounded way to support transformation. I knew that my job is because I can see both sides of things so well, and I can sense into what's happening for someone. I realized that it really is my mission and my purpose and my reason for being on the planet to support transformation. And so I got really grounded in understanding multidimensionality when I worked with you, Royce. And then I thought, well, how can I actually, take this into a form that people can understand, that they can solve this problem and that problem and this problem. And so that's when I went into all of the coaching credentials.
And what about the priestess? And
well, sort of the priestess was sort of coming back around then into the multidimensional. And it was a very delineated structure of 13 moons, 13 temples that you can hold that have all sorts of different information and an opportunity to grow and evolve in a certain way. And we'll talk a lot more about that. Go through the slideshow.
Okay. So, okay. Well, I guess I'll just save all my questions for the slideshow, because I've got so many, but they will probably be covered in your slideshow. So
Okay.
why don't we just bring that up and we'll start talking about those amazing slides.
Okay. So now we're going to start dancing with the Divine Feminine. The name of my company is Wise Woman Rise. It's a call to action. Come on, wise women, let's rise. And so that's just the title page of my. So we can go to the next slide. So I want to talk to you a little bit about my spiritual evolution. And I said this a minute ago, that my natural tendency has always been to walk through the day with a multidimensional awareness of life. And I said I was a spacey, artistic, creative kid. And I was awestruck when one night I dreamt about something and the next week it happened in everyday life. It was like, what? What's going on with me? The reason why I put up this picture of these stained glass windows is that I was raised in an Episcopalian church in the South Bay of Los Angeles, California. And I was always so moved by the beauty of the way the light shone through the stained glass behind the altar in the church that really set a mystical and uplifting tone. So that whole ritual place started really young in this lifetime. And the services were almost theatrical, with a priest at the head of the processional waving a big ball of incense. So there was all these different sensual things happening. And then the multidimensional essence of the rituals really touched me on a soul level. And at that time, some of the services were in Latin, which made the whole experience otherworldly, mystical to me. Like, ooh, I wonder what that really means. And as I think back, that was certainly in alignment with the multidimensional transformational experiences that I had with the work with you, Royce. It was like a continuation of that. The other thing that when I was thinking about this, that was really like, is that the Episcopal Church originated in England. And I just realized that the priestess lineage that I've adopted has her origins in the Avalonian traditions of Glastonbury, England. And interestingly and congruently, 23andMe, the place where you can look at your DNA and your genetic makeup, mine in this lifetime is mostly from the British Isles. So it's all sort of following the intuitive reality of who I really am. And so during this time together, I'll share my perspective in an overview of the 13 moon mystery school archetypes of the Divine Feminine, as defined by my mentor, Ariel Spielsbury, and her lineage in the Sanctuary of the Open Heart. Can we go to the next slide, please? This is Ariel Spielsbury when she was young. Isn't that the most amazing picture of someone you've ever seen? Look at how the light is just like shining off of her. And I think it really, really defines her. She's my mentor in this divine feminine work, and she is the most brilliant, creative, multidimensional traveler across all time and space I've ever had the privilege of knowing. She embodies the alchemy of each archetype in every fiber of her being as she leads and participates in temples. And she's very, very dear to my heart, as are you. It's like you're sort of like one side of the coin, and she's another side, and you're both very multidimensional. And I'm so grateful that she's taken the deep dive into the complexities of her inspirations to create the Mystery School for us. So I don't know if she's going to listen to this, but deep bow and hugs to you, Ariel. Dear, dear woman. I first met her in 2010 at a live gathering in Marin. And she's a multifaceted, multi-talented, multidimensional, galactic, really galactic, heart-centered genius. And her offerings bring in holographic light food. Her first offering, The Alchemy of Ecstasy, is a tome, really a tome of channeled information written in rarefied frequency. It's very dense and packed with so much juiciness to those who have the temperament for that kind of interpretation of multidimensional complexity. Okay, let's go to the next slide. And so the cornerstone of our temple structure is this really beautiful offering that she created. It's called the 13 Moon Oracle Temple in a Box. It comes in a box, and it has all these things inside of it. It's like, the book is like this big, so the box is this big too. It's, a nice big box. And this mat, this moon mat, folds up inside of it. And it has a card deck and CDs and this amazing textbook that's like an illuminated manuscript. And it all provides really accessible ways to work with your information. Ariel invites us in this work to move beyond experiencing ecstasy and instead becoming ecstasy itself. To that chasm of mystical difference is the oracle dedicated, she says inside of her book. Okay, let's go to the next slide. So I'm going to take a closer look at the moon mat itself. And these are all of the faces of the Divine Feminine Archetypes, and I've put them in the colors that they have. So there's the Great Mother Gaia, and she's the one we're really going to focus on today. She's all about unconditional love. And the moon mat starts here. Can you see my little arrow? No?
No.
Okay. So the moon mat starts at the bottom.
I see it. It's on the bottom. Yeah.
Yeah. And then it moves to the right. And the next person is the goddess of compassion. And you might know her from maybe the idea of maybe Kuan Yin. And then next to her is the priestess, the Lady of the Lake. She's a visionary. The next is called the Creator Destroyer. And you may know about Kali Ma, who's like a woof kind of energy. And her gift and her message is to help us deal with conflict. And then the next one up is called the Lady of Communion. And you might know her as Artemis. And she is all about the balance of the masculine and the feminine. Next up is the Goddess of Love. And you might know her as Aphrodite. And of course, she's interested in love and supporting us with understanding the mirrors of love. Next up is the Primal Goddess. And you might know her as Shakti, or one of those really sexual and, energy priestess goddesses. And so she deals with sexuality and passion. And then up is the Initiator. And she is embodied by, you might know who, Isis, the Egyptian priestess of the challenge, the challenger. She has a sword and she challenges you to cut through it all. So this stuff is not just playing around. And then next up is the Wise Woman. I love the Wise Woman. I have Wise Woman Rise as my logo. She's so much fun, and she's so deep, and she's so expanded. And you might know her as my white buffalo woman. And she stands at the crossroads and she's able to see in all directions. And she's a multidimensional traveler. She shows up in multi-dimensions. The next one is over here, the Weaver Dreamer. And you might know her as Spider Woman. She is the queen of multidimensionality. She really helps you to walk on the web of multidimensional awareness. And the final one on the wheel is the Queen of Death. And you might know her as Persephone. And this temple it's great that it's the last one because it goes so deep and so viscerally touching. And then the final temple gate is the alchemical goddess. And she's very mystical and she embodies all of the other archetypes. So that's kind of the trajectory of, say, a 12 or 13 month or 13 session exploration of this particular understanding of the goddess.
Can I ask you a couple of questions come to mind? When you say temple gate, what does that mean?
Well, when we do this work, we actually hold a temple, either online or in the, like if we're just working with one person, we might talk about the temple that we're inside of. And it's so beautiful. It's so clearly delineated and understood by everything that you do. It's an actual sense of walking into a temple that it's dedicated to each archetype. And I have a slide later on about a temple that I did, and I'm going to share that with you.
Okay. And my other question is, I'm trying to understand, maybe purpose is not the right word for it, but as you look at this, are you supposed to say, oh, that's my archetype? Or
you might, as you get to know it better, you'd be like, ooh, I really feel connected to her. Each one of them is very powerful, and she supports a different level of transformation of our identity in a different way. And some of them you really jive with. Some of them are like, I'm afraid. Or, that seems too weird or big. Or usually it's too big, or it brings up something from a multidimensional memory that's you're not ready to resolve.
Right.
But it can also be really powerfully transformational.
In what way?
Well, like I can remember one time my dear friend Patricia had some abuse in her lifetime, and Ariel actually showed up to the Great Mother in this particular time, the Great Mother Temple. And Ariel is such an amazing embodier of every one of them, but she was really embodying the Great Mother. And my friend got really triggered when she was sensing into it, and she just went and Ariel just held her. And that's part of it, is like one person embodying the essence and the other person receiving the transmission through that actual physical awareness and touch and rocking. And I've seen some brilliant, amazing, so touching, so inspiring, so transformative things happen. And this is really time out of time when you step into a temple. Is that all your questions?
I forgot to mention, those of you that are watching this or watching it live, feel free to message over some questions or comments, or just let us know that you're listening. Feel free to do that, and we will definitely answer any questions. So,
okay. All right. So let's go to the next slide. All right. These are the different aspects of the archetypes of the Divine Feminine, the intricacies of the aspects. So when we study one, we realize that the archetypes have myths across cultures. Like the archetypes are in lots of different cultures and have different names, and they're archetypes because that's exactly what an archetype means, is that an understanding across awareness and cultures that is a basic awareness of something. It doesn't even have to be human awareness. It's like an understanding that everybody can say, oh yeah, I get that. And each one of them has a unique personality, a unique way of being and knowing. She also is celebrated, or at least has the qualities of a particular phase of the moon. And so it's very related to the moon. And that's why this is called a moon mat. And she has a sacred tool. She has light and shadow qualities that she deals with, and which we call mirrors in your work, Royce. She has a symbol and a sacred geometry. You can see in on the moon mat. Can you see this? Can you see my little arrow?
Yes.
I'm pointing to the Great Mother. So
Yes.
that's the new moon, or the dark of the moon. You can't really see this. I'm going to show a close-up in a minute. But you can see, well, here, I'll just do that in the next slide. It's too hard to see. She has an animal totem. The Great Mother is the bear. And an herb, vetiver, is the Great Mother's vetiver. Yeah, is the Great Mother's herb. Her flower is a deep maroon rose. Her element is earth. Her crystal is obsidian. Her mudra is a hand symbol, and hers is, well, you can't see it, but it's rubbing your belly, because that's the womb space. And her mantra is Sukra Rakta. Sukra Rakta. And there can be multicultural archetypal characters, you know. The Great Mother is pretty much in every culture. And like I said, her color frequency is this maroon color. And her alchemical principle, let's go to the next slide, please. So this is a close-up. So the moon mat is meant to help us to understand easily where we're going with this. So her ways of being is, I surrender, I receive. I surrender, I receive. And you still can't really see this picture. It's hard to see, but this is a really cool picture. It's very refined, but it has a picture of a cauldron right here. And it has a picture of a dragon peeking its head around. Dragon is also part of her way of being. And has bubbling, boiling brew. She's the one that you think of, who's the witch, sort of. That is the one who really understands herbology and transformation on a multidimensional level. We're going to do a little experience later, and you'll get more of an understanding of this. And she's also has the myth of eternal return, which is conception, birth, life, and death. We're going to talk about that more too. And she's very nurturing and unconditionally loving. And her ways of knowing is all about safe embrace, which is why I chose to talk about her, because of the nature of what's happening in the world and all the uncertainty and really the fear that's being generated in this power over struggle, especially in the United States. So I wanted to bring some energy to that. And nurturing and abandonment are the mirrors. She has a lot of them. And the double or triple spiral is very much part of her reality. You can't see it on this one, but you'll notice in the far right corner on some of these slides, I've put down a triple spiral. And that's about birth, life, and death. the triple spiral of the maiden, the mother, and the crone. And some of her multicultural archetypes are Gaia, Shakti, and Demeter. Her elements are earth, crystal, are bloodstone, garnet, and ruby. Her animal totem is bears. Her herb is sage flower, is red rose. I think of it as really a deep red rose. And her color frequency is maroon. And her scent, we often use scent a lot in temple work. When we're in the physical temple, we actually set it up so that there's a gate that you cross through, so that you leave behind the world and you step into an embodiment of the multidimensional awareness of the archetype. And at the gate, I often have people smell the scent. And I'll even maybe put it on their third eye or their throat or their heart so that they have that with them throughout. It's all about shifting consciousness and having a visceral experience of the actual archetype that you're engaging.
So how does that shift consciousness, though?
Well, it's extra sensory. It's like, bringing all of the senses into it. And then the actual ritual and the progression of the ritual that the Temple Priestess Guide does, like invokes the energetic of, it's very theatrical, really. Music and chanting and movement and different little practices. I love it. I love theater. And I love theater, especially when it's going to shift my consciousness in a private and practical way. So
can you tell us, in terms of your own experience, what has shifted personally for you from doing this work?
It's taken me out of my mind, because I don't know if it seems like it, but I have a really active mind. And I'm very inquisitive, and I want to know the answers, and I want to delineate things, and I want to have it all my ducks in a row, and I want to be intelligent, and I want to be able to communicate. And yet there's this other balanced side that so loves the multidimensional. And this is all about experiencing the ecstasy from, you're in a dimension, but it just shifts inside of you. And you become that person, and you have whole other awarenesses, and especially somewhat in the guided meditations or the experiences or the guided experiences that we do. Hopefully you'll have a little bit of a shift in the experience I'm going to share with you. Anything else?
Nope.
All right, let's go to the next slide. So I'm going to use the Great Mother as an example. So these are some images that I created. This is sort of a well-known goddess imagery, right? Like from Paleolithic times in Greece or something. And so I made these 4 different stages. And the first image is the image of, just a second, I want to make sure I'm on the right place here. This is all about living in alignment with the natural cycles of life on Earth. And so this image is about spring. This is about the first phase of life, very beginning of life, spring. We've just stepped into that, where we're in the rebirth of the world, or at least in the Northern Hemisphere. Everything is sprouting. All the babies are coming up. It's birth, and then it's youth, and it's menses. So this is the maiden stage. And then the next stage is summer. And summer is the mother, the regeneration of life. She is the nurturer. See, she's holding the baby. She's the nurturer. And then the next phase is the fall. And that is the crone. She's the wisdom keeper. And she's the part of our life as women that when we start to go into menopause. And then the final stage is winter, which is death. And also can just be rest and regeneration. You know how we go inside when we're in the winter and we kind of contemplate and we get quieter and we're not out there doing things. So these are the 4 levels of the cycles of life. So in a minute, well, I don't know, when do we need to take a break, Royce? Is there a perfect time to take a break?
Whenever you feel that the perfect time is.
Okay. All right, let's take a break now.
Okay, we'll be right back.
Om Times TV. Do you want to break free from old patterns and limiting beliefs that subconsciously sabotage your life? What are your triggers, and what really is beneath them? Are you seeking answers to life's big questions, intrigued by the possibility of self-discovery that goes deep? Looking for tools to help you break free from hidden sources of feeling stuck, confused, and unworthy? Perfect Life Awakening takes you on an epic inner adventure that shifts your perception of yourself, others, and life permanently. Identify and overcome the origins of subconscious triggers and limiting beliefs holding you back. That's how you transform your mindset from the roots. That's how you liberate your spirit, awaken your intuition, and discover your true purpose. Dive deep into the mysteries held within. Embark on a life-altering journey of self-discovery. Be a trailblazer within your own life. Go from triggered to empowered because you deserve a perfect life awakening. Imagine becoming a super influencer. Reinvent yourself, invest in your brand, and then manifest your success with a robust spheric approach. Om Times Media and Broadcasting offers a unique and multifaceted way to become the spiritual and conscious influencer you deserve to be by putting your message across our powerful platform with its proven record of integrity and excellence. Through our produced shows, Om Times offers the opportunity to become a social media TV personality, a radio show host, an Om Times magazine columnist, and a syndicated podcaster, all in one shot. By live streaming your show on Om Times TV and broadcasting it across the extensive Om Times radio and TV networks, you become more than a host. You become an ambassador and a force for positive change. Om Times. Open yourself to the possibilities.
If I could be you, and you could be me for just 1 hour. If we could find a way to get inside each other's minds. Walk a mile in my shoes. Walk a mile in my shoes. Well, before you abuse, criticize, and accuse. Walk a mile in my shoes.
Welcome back. We are talking about all kinds of fascinating things, goddesses and wonderful things. Thank you, Marilyn. Keep going.
Okay, first I just have to say that last video that was played just now in the time down just really moved and touched and inspired me. It was like, oh, such an important message. Walk a mile in my shoes.
Yes.
Such a moving thing. Let me get centered here again. That really moved me. Oh my goodness. That's why we run it. And I'm so glad. I'm so glad. So let's go to the next slide. I want to give you a little gift. And it's an altar card of the Great Mother. And if you'd like to have this, it's 8.5 by 11 altar card. And you can put it on your own altar. And you can remember this experience from that. And all you have to do is just email me at wisewomanrise@gmail.com. So you're welcome. It'd be my pleasure. And so let's go to the next slide. Now I want to give you a peek into an experience of being in a temple. This is a temple setup inside of my temple room in my home. You can tell I live in Santa Fe, New Mexico. The fireplace gives it away. It's really kind of hard to see on my screen. Oh, I guess, let's see. Let me move this up here and see if I can see it better. I guess you can see it pretty well. You'll see it has all of the different things that we were talking about on the altar. So it has the 4 directions with the different stages of life. It has the spiral. And this particular temple was so wonderful because my family, my daughter, my niece, my niece's daughter, and I all did this together. And it was very intimate. And I had 2 other granddaughters, but they were a little too young. They didn't really want to do it. And so my husband took them to the zoo. It was so sweet. But it was so powerful because it was really my family. And so this whole experience that I'm going to give you happened inside of the lineage of my own real family. And my mother's tarot deck was in here with us. And we didn't even know she did tarot until after she was gone. I kind of remember it, but she kept it secret. She did it late at night. So my mother was a priestess and we didn't even know it. My mother was multidimensional. She didn't seem like it, and she was. And then, let's see what else is here. Everybody brought some kind of a totem or a talisman of something that they cared about. And I don't know if you can see it, but right here is a little vessel, and it has my sister's ashes in it. So my sister was there in body. And then we had all sorts of pictures of my grandmother and her sisters, and my mother and her grandmother. And it was just like, it was actually an embodiment of this whole thing that I'm going to share with you. So I surrender, I receive. That is the call of the Great Mother. I surrender, I receive. So let's go ahead and go to the next slide. So now I'm going to lead us in a guided meditation. I'm going to go on a journey. And so I'm going to invite us to listen to this and have an experience of it. And you can close your eyes if you want to, or you can look at this image. This is an image I created years ago that sort of embodies all of this. It's kind of trippy, isn't it? But let's go ahead and get started. I like to have us close our eyes when we do this. And for those who are listening to the audio, you can do this too. So I'm going to invite us to take a nice deep breath. And on the exhale, just let go of everything else that we have to do today, that we have on pressure on our beingness. And let's get very present right here, right now. Just release everything that might be pulling on us. And with another beautiful deep breath, I'm hearing some kind of clicking. I'm not sure what that's from. But let's just ignore it. Maybe it's the Great Mother. Maybe she's entered the moment. And so in this place of depth, let's bring our energy down, down, down into the bottoms of our bellies, into that cauldron, into that place where the Great Mother resides, into that womb space. Really feeling the depth of possibility that's there. And now from this place, sending our energy down, down, down our legs and out the bottoms of our feet and into the earth, which is where the Great Mother resides and resides over. We're going to take a walk through the forest and we're going to see this pathway that's a spiral. And when we get to the bottom of the spiral, to the very center, we see that there's a hole. And we notice that there's a stairway that goes down into the hole. And when we get inside, we see that we're in a cave. And on the cave walls, there are spirals and moss and sort of like petroglyph spirals. And the air is so nurturing and nourishing. But it's also kind of earthy, very earthy. And we look around and we see there are these soft places that we can actually lie down on and be comforted in this space and feel this safe embrace. And then we hear it's the heartbeat of the earth. It's the heartbeat of the Great Mother. And we see her walk into the space and she says to us, "There is nothing you can do to make me love you. There is nothing you can do to make me not love you. I simply love you." And she takes you into her arms and she rocks you. And she beckons to you to just lay down your burdens. Whatever you might be afraid of, whatever might be pulling on you, any place where you feel not enough, any place where you feel disempowered, she holds you and she rocks you, just like when you were a child and somebody probably rocked you, even if it wasn't your mother. Or if nobody did, now she is. And so just let yourself be nurtured and nourished by this amazing, like big grandmother, large breasted, big bellied, meaty arms around you that just are so loving and nurturing. Let yourself really be moved and touched. That there is such an awareness that you can turn to whenever you feel afraid or you feel like you just want to give up and it's all too hard and you just want to get in your covers and pull them up and never come back out again. Allow the embrace of the Great Mother to hold you. And now you feel a rumbling happening. And your energy is pulled down into the molten core of the earth. You're not wounded by it, but you're really empowered by it. Because the Great Mother also lives at the core of the earth as Pele. And when she decides to erupt and have her power come to the surface, she creates a giant spew of lava that creates whole new land masses. And so you're learning to harness the energy of both aspects of the Great Mother, the deep nurturer and the mover and the shaker. Whenever we need that kind of energy, she's available to us to actually step into the fiery core of our amazing knowing and our amazing power to get things done, to change things for the better. And so now we move back up and we come back into our bellies, and we bring our energy into our hearts, and we bring our energy into our third eye, and then we bring it up, 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 and out, out, out into the cosmos, beyond even where our mind can go, as we consider the very first Great Mother that ever existed in time out of mind. And we realize the very first Great Mother that ever existed was the mother to us all. And from that awareness, we recognize that there's no reason to do battle. There's no reason to be in comparison. There's no reason to feel less than or more than. And she is also the Great Mother to all of the masculine. And so we are appealing to the Great Mother of all of humanity, of all of consciousness, to support everyone, to bring her awareness back through the umbilical of knowing and into that spiral that's in the center of every human being, so that we're all moved and touched and inspired, men and women alike, so that our consciousness is moving from this place of loving care for each other, knowing that there is nothing that anything can do to make us feel loved. We are so loved, and we can now move through life from this place of brilliance and possibility and deep nurturing. And so for this time that we've set aside to be with each other, we're so very grateful. We say yes and thank you. And so it is. And so it shall be. So that's how. That's what it is that we're doing in this work. We're having all these different entry points to really embodying the awareness of each one of these archetypes that are equally as powerful and potent and have messages for us to be our most empowered, most amazing selves.
Yes.
So do you have any other questions, or do you have anything else that you want to ask?
I'm just thinking, I'm very grounded, as you know, and I'm trying to imagine what the world would look like if we went back or embodied, as you say, embodied that balanced femininity, feminine power. What would happen? And should we take away the slide, or do you have any other slides?
No, this is, well, we can put the other slide up, but let's leave this one. The last slide is also the invitation to get my gift. So,
okay. So what would the world look like
if we were all inside of this energy? Let's leave this up. Let's look at this energy. Let's be this energy. Yeah. What would the world look like? What does everybody else think? Let's see if there are other people who want to have something to say. There is a chat, right? Where's the chat? Okay. let's see. Does anyone have anything you'd like to say about your experience with this, or what would the world be if we were in this balanced way, where we knew that we were loved, we knew we were held, that the very earth itself is supporting us, that the Divine Mother, the grounded Mother, the Mother we all share. I think that's the potent part. There would be no differences. There would be nothing to fight about. You know? If we all knew that we were so loved, we could just be in our power together and we could play in the sandbox of life. What's your sense, Royce?
Well, I'm thinking in terms of mirrors,
Okay.
of course, because that's the theme. But so some of us are there.
Mm-hmm.
Some of us are there.
Some of the time, or most of the time.
Yeah, or even right now, you know.
Yeah.
What do we need to see to help other people get there? Or what do we personally need to get in touch with to support other people getting there? You know, I'm sorry, but I think of politicians, no names mentioned, and extremely not there. They are, and extremely are there. We are.
Yeah.
How can we bring them into this fold? Are we supposed to, or are we
Well,
just going to them to
you know, I didn't even think of it. Do you remember that drawing that I sent you of Trump from his first?
Yeah.
I did this drawing of Trump. Everybody was like, what are you doing? But what I did was I visualized him as spiritual, as really together. And it's a picture of him like sort of in a lotus flower with his hands in with the mudra of the goddess of compassion, and him looking up like at his third eye. And what if our politicians knew that they were so loved and so safe in the arms of the great mother that is the mother of us all, that they could behave in a way that was caring and compassionate and not selfish and not about having power to rule over, but instead to create a world where everyone is received, everyone is allowed to be who they are, everyone is encouraged to be, and actually the whole circle of the Divine Feminine in this work is all about hitting each one of the marks of any place where you would be disempowered, so that in the end you're balanced and you're fully in, you know, with the muse, you're fully in your creativity.
And the more we do that, the more it's reflected.
Yes. And the more we teach it, and the more we hold ceremonies like this where people can have that their own actual experience of it. That's why I'm on this mission.
Yeah.
Because it's important to experience it rather than just be harped at, you know?
Yes.
And that's the same as your work, Royce. It's a very experiential. And so it's very important to be moved and touched and inspired on a deep level.
Yeah. Well, it looks like we have just a couple of more minutes. So why don't you put up the last slide and tell people how to reach you. Here we go.
So you can reach me at wisewomanrise@gmail.com. And you can go to my website, which is wisewomanrise.com, and you can see all sorts of fun things that I'm up to. Yes. And that's how. And and the other thing is that I'm getting ready to do a 5-week course about love that's going to have a relationship with the Great Mother, the Goddess of Love, and the Goddess of Compassion. So if you'd like to hear more about that, you can email me, and I'll send you the information about that as soon as it's finished being created.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. This was beautiful and powerful, and as you say, juicy.
Good. I'm glad it is. Or it was.
Yes, I appreciate you. And yeah, reach out to Marilyn and reach out to me. Don't forget to follow my Substack called Royce's Ramblings. And you can find me at Royce Morales at, what is it? www.roycemorales.com. Here we are in our full glory. Thank you.
Hi, Royce.
Yes, thank you, Marilyn, so much. This was beautiful.
That was
I'll
fun.
see everybody next Wednesday for my Perfect Life Awakening show. And I hope everybody has a blissful, wonderful, feminine energy experience today.
Balanced.
Yes.
Masculine and feminine. Got to get things done too.
Gotta get things done. That's true. Thank you.
Thank you. Mwah. See you next time.
Yes.
Bye for now.
Elevate your life.